Welcome back to the Voice of Business podcast. We're here at Bennett's Furniture and Mattresses, and big thanks to them for opening up the showroom for us, and a big thanks to Janice at Odigsky Media for shooting and producing this podcast. My guest today, Craig Mortlock. Craig, we cross paths a lot. Appreciate you joining me this morning. You're third generation with Mortlock Construction.
Yep.
1947.
1947. 78 years this year.
Okay,
wow.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a minute. Yeah.
So maybe you can give a bit of an overview of what your company does and what it's like growing up in the industry, family business, and sort of working your way in that way.
Yeah, sure. So I always talk about like local. You know, we as a business, we consider ourselves a local builder. So we've been building Peterborough in the area for 78 years, actually ahead of that, but incorporated in 1947. We've changed the landscape of Peterborough, and we take huge pride in that. So we talk about ourselves as local builders, first and foremost. I'm third generation. I'm actually partners with my wife, Ashley.
Nice.
Yeah. And we are the third generations of Mortlock to own and operate the business. I kind of joke around, like I basically learned and started in construction the day I was born, just because it's cheesy, I know, but just because I was around multiple generations of builders. I got to sit around the Thanksgiving table and listen to people talk about construction, and in that way I feel like I learned the industry really organically and really just kind of understood it at maybe a different level than some that weren't exposed to it, than some that aren't exposed to it. So that was kind of the beginning of mine. I went back to, I worked in the summers there. I went for post-secondary in the construction engineering field. I worked in engineering after post-secondary, and then came back to the family business.
All right. Well, so I'm just going to say in my notes it says you started working there at 16. I'm guessing like 16? This is the official record.
Yeah.
Got paid.
Yeah, I officially started. So you can't work on a construction site until you're 16. So I spent my 16th birthday on a construction site, if you can believe that. I'm a summer baby, and I literally started middle of July. On my 16th birthday.
Yeah, I grew up on a farm, and it was like once you can walk, you follow the planter through the field, replanting things. But you're not an employee. We played
by the rules, Ministry of Labor. I was 16, I promise. It was my 16th birthday, though. Yeah.
Fair enough. So, I mean, over that time, I'm sure you've seen a lot of changes in the industry.
Yes.
Technology and trends. Maybe you can talk a little bit about where things were and where things are going now.
Well, I can tell you, I mean, construction is probably the least impacted by technology of any industry almost in the world, and I've heard that before, but it's fairly true. As far as I'm concerned, I came into the business, 18 years ago, I think. Like, came into the office, I should say. Office, 18 years ago. And I watched, and I was faxing. And if you can believe that. And I've now transitioned to today. We are a fully automated, we work with a fully automated project management software that does everything from payroll to timesheets to document management to everything is automated through a software we use called Procore. So I've watched, if nothing else, I've watched the construction administration go from a very finger-pointing, talkative, communicative, verbal process, phone calls, driving to sites, to emails and cell phone calls, and all of that transition.
I mean, we talked to, this is going back a few years, but challenges with getting high-speed internet to your office area.
Yes, we were a rural office, and we were finding we were at significant risk of losing opportunities and work and business because of, if our internet went down on the day of a tender closing, we're now closing tenders online, digitally. We could be in a really bad way, so we had to find internet connectivity issues and address them, and Starlink for us was the answer, and eventually maybe we'll have high speed out to our just barely rural office. It's right on the border of Peterborough, but yeah.
Well, and again, like 10, 15 years ago, the idea that high speed internet was a core business opportunity for you.
Crazy. Yeah, I had a fax line. I was good. We were good. We were faxing like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, switching gears a little bit, one of the hot button topics over the last little while has been development charges.
Yes.
And we've seen them increase significantly in the city of Peterborough, but you do work outside of there as well.
Yep.
Where does that challenge you as a builder, and what's the big issues around the large increases and the impact it has on people buying, building, and that kind of thing?
For sure. So I always preface things. I try not to have strong opinions on things that I don't fully comprehend.
Sure.
I am not an economist.
Sure.
I'm a builder. What I can tell you is that our industry has faced a significant skilled trade shortage that's driven the cost of labor up, and that's not likely to change. So we have an increase in cost of labor. On top of that, we have unprecedented material increases and things like that. And I'm a stats-minded person, so I've
grab your stats.
Yeah, I've got some stats here, and I just to give some perspective. I thought it would be interesting.
Sure.
So, based on Stats Canada's Statistic Canada's Building Construction Price Index for non-residential buildings in the Toronto area, which includes Peterborough. Quarter 1 of 2021, the cost index was 114.2. In quarter 4 of 2024, the cost index was 159.6. That's a 45.4% increase, roughly. Let's call it 40% increase in 3 years.
Yeah.
So you already have unprecedented increases coming from the industry, from within the industry. Yep. And again, not an economist, but as you add additional costs, and we're talking about affordable housing and how expensive buildings are and expensive projects are, I don't know how many times you can keep stacking the price of things before it becomes unreasonable to actually even participate in those projects. And we have seen projects in this time frame, during and post-pandemic, we saw these unprecedented cost increases in our industry, and they have literally taken jobs away from builders because jobs are being canceled because the budget no longer aligns, the client's budget no longer aligns with the cost of construction and what they need. So we've seen projects go. So,
and you do mostly commercial builds?
We do.
Yeah.
We've been doing some multi-unit residential, so we do multi-unit residential and ICI. We're ICI builders. We always refer to ourselves as industrial, commercial, and institutional builders.
Yeah.
AKA non-residential.
Yeah.
However, lately we've been doing and having great success with the unit residential projects.
Yeah, but I imagine on commercial too, right? Like if those businesses have seen costs rise and labor issues and all that throughout their own industry, and now the expansion that they were hoping to build is 40 or 50% more than it was when they first thought about it 4 or 5 years ago.
Absolutely.
The business case can disappear pretty quick.
The business case has disappeared.
Yeah.
And it continues to disappear, and it's led to a quieter industry as we speak, and through some challenging times.
When you say quieter, it's not a good thing. That's less people
quiet,
building.
No, we want a loud construction industry. We want lots of noise, lots of banging, lots of hammers meeting nails kind of thing, so to speak. But no, we have a fairly quiet industry right now, and it's a challenge. You start to see, when I talk about local builders, we start to see our local builders being influxed with a lot of out-of-towners. The boundaries of when there's only so much work, you expand your boundaries to try to fill your volumes. And what we see is, the industry's quieter, areas are quieter when you see contractors you don't typically see. They just continue to spread their borders, spread their boundaries to further and further, and that is what we're seeing right now.
So again, within your own expertise, I recognize you're not an economist, but what do you think it's going to take to get us back to a more thriving, booming, loud construction industry locally, whether it's commercial, residential, whatever?
I will say the skilled trades, prior to the cost increases, I would have told you that the skilled trade shortage in Canada, in North America, Ontario, Peterborough, was our biggest challenge. There is simply not enough tradespeople. Yeah. And when, in any industry, when the supply of those people is low, the cost of those people can go up and the demand on those people go up. So I think one of the biggest things is we're seeing great movement in the skilled trades, in the promotion of the skilled trades for youth. We've talked about, with junior achievement doing great things. The local school boards are introducing trades to kids. It's fantastic. Those moves are still a number of years away from actually becoming, licensed tradespeople, contributing to the industry. But I think finding a way to level playing fields, level things like that, get tradespeople interested in working in the trades, and just finding a way to control the cost of construction is really all we can do. Construction's the first impacted by the economy and the last to recover from it. Yeah. Quote from Tom Mortlock. Okay. So I don't know if that's true, but I've always heard that.
He's a reputable source.
Yeah, he's a reputable source. So I always heard that, and I believe that because once the economy's starting to downturn, people pull back on their spending, which is construction, which is renovations, additions, new builds, those types of things. Yeah, I think we need to see a leveling of costs. We need to see more tradespeople in our industry, which we're starting to see, but is years away. And we just need to see a stronger economy. We need to try to limit those add-ons to what we talked about, whether it be, and again, I'm not here to tell you that the development charges are the wrong decision. I am just saying it's an added cost that could impact it.
And it's something that maybe there's a bit more control over than, say, cost of land, cost of labor, cost of materials, which are globally traded or so on, right?
Yes. So yes. You aren't wrong. This is a decision that is made. Yeah. And yes, many of those other factors aren't necessarily decisions or simple as a linear decision as that decision.
Yeah, but there's been conversation around HST on builds and that kind of thing too. To find areas where the government does have more control over it. There's a hit. But,
we've seen. We built the Lawn Bowling Club. It was my first infrastructure funded project that I was involved with. We've seen in the past, that was a number of years ago. We've seen in the past where the government initiates incentives to move the industry along. And that's very, very common to get building moving. They understand that once building's moving, then progress continues and follows. So I'm sure we'll see some things from the government. We already have, CMHC is funding a project we're working on right now for help with the housing crisis. Yeah. There's lots of things moving. It's just getting it all going and getting it all to align.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of things going on.
I just have to ride the wave, though. I'm just trying to ride the wave, and we've been pretty fortunate.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. Now, it seems like you seek out passion projects as well. Like you're. Yeah. It's not just, hey, whatever projects we can get on. I'm sure you take with the projects that come your way, but you also seek out certain types of things. And I know you've been involved with, say, Brock Mission, the affordable housing complex on Monaghan Road. Where does that fit into Mortlock Construction, and what drives you to do what you do?
Yeah, so obviously as a business, we have to keep our doors open. Yeah. And as a local builder, we can't say no to any client looking to build. We would love to build for everybody. Yeah. But I will tell you that personally, as humans, we take what we contribute to society really, really important. So we talk about ourselves as local builders. I also want to be a community builder, and I want to build a strong community because I also know that I will benefit from a strong community, but I want to give back. Bottom line is very important, but so is our karma, our karma bottom line is really important to us, and we want to be able to put our heads down at night. That's like our biggest goal, and I'm a person with a high level, and so is Ashley, and so is the ones before us. We cared about the community that cares about us, and honestly, from a business standpoint, you take away the personal side of things, the emotional side of things. We are asking the community to hire us. So we're asking them to support us in our business. We have to support them, and so it's twofold. It's business and it's personal and social and.
And you've been in this all your life. You need things that excite you and make you want to get up and we're gonna nail this one. Right?
There's a place for building a box. There's a place for it, and it's great. But it's also some things that are fun are building beautiful buildings that give back and being able to. I'm from Peterborough. I live in the North End. I drive past with my children. Yeah. We drive by the buildings that we've built, and that pride is. That hits you in a different way than. your pocketbook could hit you, Being able to drive by Hospice Peterborough that I did on my way here.
Yeah.
Being able to drive by the Lawn Bowling Club, the Brock Mission, the affordable housing, those things that contribute to the community and I can be proud of. And when I say them, people know what good they do.
Yeah.
And I can be even just the slightest bit associated with the amazing work that those people do on a daily basis. If I could give them the facility to do that, that's worth, I don't know what that's worth. That's worth everything to us.
So I'm going to let you throw some stuff back at me. So I'm the business advocate, right?
Sure.
So what are the regulatory things that are frustrating you and your industry that, as a Chamber of Commerce, we're just one more voice on this, but we love to be that voice and work with others on it and try and make some changes. What are some regulatory and policy changes that might help?
Yeah, so again, you're the expert in this, so I'm glad I'm not. But I mean, one thing that first comes to mind is leveling playing fields. We find, again, as a moral business, we want to do right by people. And in our industry, and in any industry, there are those that maybe don't view that as highly. So things like health and safety can be sacrificed and things. And what I'd like to see is leveling the playing field as far as what the expectation and things are for what people do. And I know that doesn't just fall on the Ministry of Labor and those types of people. That falls on just implementing policies and changing cultures. I'd love to see that change. Again, I don't know how to change that, but there's ways that we can move it regulatory wise. I would like to see. We need policies that encourage people to want to build, that encourage people to want to invest in 45% higher costs than they were in 2021. We want people to want to do that. So we need to find ways to encourage construction because, as I said, construction, and this is self-serving, I understand that, but construction is really the what can really help move an economy along. And I also would love to see, and the city of Peterborough is doing a wonderful job. They're implementing a thing called social procurement. And social procurement is, in essence, a 4-tier evaluation system. Price, quality, environmental, and then they're adding the social component to it. Instead of the old 3 or 2, a lot of times it's just 2, or 1 price.
Cost.
They're adding a 4th component to their evaluation, and I think it's really, really an amazing move. As a local builder, as someone that cares about this community, I think that's. So I'd love to see people start thinking about how do we support local contractors, how do we keep our money within our community, how do we, so that it just grows and grows this community. Hashtag build local. So I think encouraging ways and finding ways to encourage local and socially minded purchasing would be massive.
It's a different perspective on the value of a dollar, right?
It is, and it's. I think most people think about it, but it's putting it into, it's taking it and saying, I'm going to spend $1.10 instead of $1. But that 10 cents makes all the difference and can be what was made that other company that's doing it the right way a little bit more expensive. So it's an interesting model, and I think it's exciting for the city to think about it.
Wrap up with one more question. So when we talk business issues, it tends to be a little bit pessimistic, right? Like, here's all the challenges we're dealing with and people aren't building and whatever it might be. What's the optimism? What's the light at the end of the tunnel? What's the outlook a few years from now that gets you excited about where the industry's going?
I think honestly, I've seen a huge change in the optics of the skilled trades. I love. Again, I want to be associated with an industry that's viewed highly. I watch hundreds of amazing skilled tradespeople work on a job and produce something with their hands and do these amazing things. And it's an amazing thing to watch. And I want people to understand the value that people have in the skilled trades. So what I hope we see is more people interested in pursuing the skilled trades and understanding the skilled trades doesn't just mean swinging a hammer. It can, And there's nothing wrong with that. That's an amazing thing, because as I said, at the end of the day, when you swing a hammer, you produce something that's tangible and you see. But there's opportunities in construction. I want to see youth thinking about construction as an industry. I want to see the stigma of what a career path in the trades looks like. I want to see that changed. Understanding just the value of the skilled trades. I mean, I do see that I've been in the industry long enough now, and I've been around it my whole life. I know it goes like this. Yeah. I know we're kind of in a this. Yeah. I can't wait to see the this. Yeah. I'd love to see more of a less waves and more of just a level industry, but that's not the nature of this industry. So I'm excited to see how we pop out of a downturn. I'm excited to see these projects that have been put on pause because of budgetary issues. I can't wait to see them take life and grow and move forward. But yeah. So one of those benefits of being a third generation business, you have that perspective of years and years of when times are tough, the better times come, and it's that ebb and flow, right? Yeah. So. I mean, we've 78 years, we've ridden the waves, right? And that's a pretty cool thing to say, and it's because of amazing clients and things that we have. So yeah, I'm just excited to see what the future holds. I'm excited to see what buildings we get to produce. I'm excited to see what buildings pop out of Peterborough, whether we build them or not. Hopefully somebody local does. We're good. Yeah. Good. All right. Well, Craig, thanks so much for joining me. Appreciate it.